Day 2, 6:30 a.m. start. I feel better. I don't know about you guys.
I feel better.
Luke, you feel better? Yeah. Good. Here we go. With the notorious day 1 in our rearview mirrors, we were running on full stomachs and a decent night's rest. We felt ready to take on day 2. We've learned that it's amazing what a few hours of sleep can do to rebuild your body and mind, and we would continue to learn that truth over and over again for the rest of the tour. Day 2 on the old Tour of Idaho itineraries, meaning before 2022, used to allow for a full day off in Pocatello. This was a huge benefit and would allow teams to sleep in a bit, work on unexpected bike issues, and generally just recharge from the brutality that is day 1. Pocatello is the largest town on the tour route. It's a college town with lots of restaurants, hardware stores, and anything a suffering dirt bike vagabond might need, including a full-service bike shop or two. Pocatello Power Sports being our favorite. There's no question that the Pocatello day off in 2021 was pivotal to Luke and I being able to complete the T1, or at least it was for me. We had limped into Pocatello with wire holding my fuel line together, and without being able to get the parts I needed here, it would have cost me my jersey number. Unfortunately, this year the day off was no longer in the cards, as the ultimate tour route didn't have the room for such luxuries. However, if we could survive until day 8 in Salmon, we would be able to take a half day or at least a few hours to get new tires. Though since Salmon is a much smaller town than Pocatello, if major bike repairs were necessary at that point, we probably wouldn't be able to get access to any hard to find parts that we might need. Luckily this year there was no major issues that needed our immediate attention, other than my likely broken tailbone and some sufficiently humbled egos, or at least not any issues that we knew of just yet. The first part of day 2 gets you going on the right foot with some spectacular single track through parts of the Caribou National Forest area to the southwest of Pocatello. Our first challenge photo would be taken at the top of Scout Mountain.
fun trail too. So we're gonna go this way. We'll wind up, we'll get up on top of Scout Mountain. That trail was awesome.
Around this time, Luke had noticed some oil gathering on the engine case around his countershaft seal. We weren't sure how much to worry just yet, but we knew that a blown countershaft seal could be tour ending, since a replacement seal could be impossible to come by in the backwoods of Idaho. Luke decided to keep an eye on it and reevaluate it once we hit Kinport Knoll, which would be the closest point we would ever be to Pocatello for the rest of the tour. From Scout Mountain, we would take a steep descent down Bell Marsh Creek Trail, which would eventually loop back into the Crestline Trail. After about a 20-mile loop, there would be a series of several connecting trails that would lead us over to our second challenge point, Kinport Knoll. We knew that we would probably have cell service once we reached Kinport Knoll, so Luke decided that once we got there, he would call Pocatello Power Sports and see if they just happened to have a countershaft seal that would fit his bike. This descent going down Bell Marsh Creek Trail is extremely steep, though I know you can't tell from the GoPro footage. It is so steep, in fact, that both Colby and I boiled our rear brake fluid and lost use of our back brakes temporarily, which made the descent even more interesting, turning it into more of a semi-controlled slide. But of course, due to my extreme dirt bike riding skills, you can't really tell that I'm struggling. Just kidding. Probably too steep.
Might dip my net gator in that river.
It was getting hot and realized I hadn't even opened up my vents yet.
With the permission of all parties involved, I left this little accidentally filmed jewel in here for entertainment purposes. It's funny what can happen in a 5-minute pit stop.
You need to wipe it off, see how bad it is.
I was trying to kind of wipe it to see.
I bet that's gonna be cold. Uh-huh. You think it's cold? This is gonna be cold. Yeah. I got mine a little too tight, my sizes. Oh really? I have one there, like this. Oh.
It's tight.
Here.
Too tight.
Damn risk. Oh. That was fun trail too.
That countershaft.
Mm-hmm. I wish I got an earlier start today.
Poop in your panties? You know who William Shatner is?
He's an actor, isn't he?
Yeah. He started a lingerie line, but then they had to discontinue it because they couldn't have Shatner panties. Good one, right?
That was a good one. Be a single track up here, I think.
Found the rest of my pants there. It's on my muffler.
Huh?
I found the hole in my pants. It's on my muffler.
Is it?
That burns plastic.
Oh yeah, you don't even have a muffler guard?
Nope.
Dang.
Forgot about that. It was one of the things I overlooked.
Yeah, that'll do it. Luke was able to call Pocatello Power Sports from Kinport Knoll, and luckily they did have the part we needed to replace his countershaft seal. Even though we weren't sure how long it would take us to replace the seal, or whether or not we could even do the job with whatever tools we had in our kits, we decided that if we didn't try, then Luke's bike probably wouldn't make it through the 12 and a half more days of tour abuse. So, we headed into Pocatello once again to try and make the repair. Here we are, doing bike repairs. I'm standing here filming, watching this guy. That seems like it should be loose enough.
Take the bolt all the way out.
So, with the new countershaft seal from the awesome folks at Pocatello Power Sports, we made the repair in record time, and amazingly with only what tools we had on us. The peace of mind that it gave Luke alone was worth the hour it took for us to make the repair. Luke is known to state many times per day, and I quote, "You can't have anything nice." So it was good to have this one problem nice again, at least until another one presented itself. Which we knew on the Tour of Idaho, it's only a question of when, not if, something will go wrong. You may have noticed that it was noon way back when we were on top of Kinport Knoll, and where I come from, noontime is lunchtime. So why didn't we just eat in Pocatello, you might ask? On our 2021 tour, Luke and I had learned of a sandwich shop at Bingham AG Service Station in American Falls. In my opinion, they make one of the best sandwiches I have ever tasted. Maybe that was just because you're always hungry on the tour, but since I had been hyping up that sandwich to Colby for months already, we decided to delay eating lunch until after we made the long haul across the valley to American Falls to see if those sandwiches were as good as I remembered. One thing that any tour veteran will tell you is that any long stretch of gravel or paved road on a dirt bike is a killer on your patience, your back, and especially your butt. Which is why you'll notice that even on roads, we still spend a lot of time standing up. You're always so worn out from riding all the technical trails that the pain from every sore muscle and injury seems to be magnified on these easy roads, when the distraction of keeping your bike on the trail is no longer your main concern. These straight stretches, while not difficult to ride, definitely present a different kind of challenge. It's more of a mental or cerebral grind in these cases. here in a bit, I forget to turn off the GoPro once again while pumping gas, but I thought I'd use it as an opportunity to tell about a major disappointment. We were walking into Bingham's for that legendary sandwich I've been dreaming about, only to find out that the sandwich shop is closed on Saturdays. Yep, I said closed. On Saturdays. We had just walked in and looked over to the counter where the sandwiches are usually made, only to see empty trays and no one behind the counter. The nice girl on the service station side of the store said, "Looks like you guys wanted a sandwich, huh? I could tell the minute you walked in." "Sorry," she said, "they're closed today." I don't know how sad I looked, but it must have been bad. Bad enough that she said sorry one more time, and she said, "We still have lots of snacks over here." So, extremely disheartened, we settled for bags of chips, Gatorade, and some Cliff Bars to tide us over until we made it to Arco. And we still had to make it to Arco before all the restaurants were closed for the evening. In spite of such devastating disappointment, we decided to press on in the face of adversity. So, from American Falls, we would head west along State Road 39, across American Falls Dam, and then south towards the Lake Channel entrance for challenge point number 3. The second half of day 2 turns into a flat, hot, sandy nightmare that never seems to end. At first, the Snake River Plains desert seems to be made up of extremely soft sand that sucks in any dirt bike tire if you can't maintain enough speed. Then, after crossing some farmland roads, the desert turns into a hot, tumbleweed-infested minefield, covered with not actual mines but nasty little lava rocks that like to appear out of nowhere right in front of your tires. A pinch flat situation just begging to happen.
Wow.
This is the Lake Channel entrance. I'll put Martin's description of this drop-in point in just a bit. But you can see from the cliffs in the background, you have to get the spot right. Why don't you ride off it? Oh.
Probably gonna be hard to even do this off.
Do you want me to come help you instead of film you? Do you want me to help you instead of film you? Some tour veterans have actually ridden their bikes off the rocks onto the sand. One soloist, T. Roy Lipton Gowden, I believe is how you pronounce it, of Team Smooth, who attempted the T1 just a few weeks after we were here, actually ended his tour right here by tearing all the ligaments in his knee. Anyone who would make a tour attempt wearing a bunny helmet is a legend in my book. From the Lake Channel entrance, we would cross some more of these soft, sandy areas, then across some farmlands to where the real desert challenge and the first special navigation section of the tour would begin.
gotta do the loop.
From where our old school navigation started, we would fairly quickly find our way over to the Crystal Ice Cave, where we spent a short time trying to find the entrance to the cave. We only found a hole in the ground, but no actual ice caves. The air was much cooler inside the hole we found though, so that was a nice break from the heat for just a bit. The only other stop of any significance while crossing the desert, other than to wonder where the heck we were, was a challenge point at Mosby Well.
Yeah, and there's nothing. Miles.
So it says we're on the intersection, right?
We're not.
We're out here in the desert doing our special navigation section. But not sure. There says there's an intersection right back there, but there's not. We're just going to assume that that point was where we were supposed to start our next leg from.
Martin had emailed each team a different set of instructions required to navigate across the desert. The teams got their instructions once they reached Pocatello before the midnight cutoff. This was exactly what our navigation looked like. Our GPS track would be the proof that we either succeeded or failed in navigating correctly. Success meant that teams weren't docked any points, but failure would result in a loss of points that could be made up with bonus or challenge sections if necessary. We wouldn't know for sure if we'd been successful or not until after our tracks had been reviewed by Martin, but from experience I can tell you that you usually know whether or not you'd gotten it right. If you didn't, the lost feeling would become fairly obvious. As you can see, we weren't entirely sure that we'd been successful.
I don't know, man. I think you just take it wrong.
Problem is then if we get penalized, we have to make it up.
No. I don't know. Where do you think we went wrong?
So where we are right now, the lat long is like 43, let's see.
We eventually found our groove. The navigation started becoming more second nature. I put this one section of video in here of our desert crossing. Why just one? Because it's literally all the same thing. And I felt that this section kind of begins to show what the grind of the desert was really like. Across the desert, you can often see Big Southern Butte in the distance, as you can here. I've heard it called the moving mountain because it seems to move away from you, or at least you never seem to get any closer to it as you cross. It's always just as far away as it was the last time you saw it. These sections between navigation points were brutally long, and even more so in the heat of the day. For your sanity, I just put this one video clip of the desert in here, and it's almost over, I promise. It would end up taking us about 4.5 hours to complete this special navigation section and get all the way across the desert. I think I speak for all three of us when I say we were definitely glad to have it finally behind us. From Mosby Well, we continued navigating, point by point across the desert, working our way towards the old moving mountain, or Big Southern Butte. Big Southern Butte would be our final Day 2 challenge point. Here we are, finally honing in on the butte after hours of navigating across the Snake River Plains desert. Although that mountain still appears to be staying just outside of our reach. Reference, this section of desert is nestled quaintly in between the Craters of the Moon National Preserve and Hell's Half-Acre Wilderness Study Area. Big Southern Butte, it was about 32 miles down the butte, then west and south across the valley into Arco. In 2021, Luke and I pulled into Arco at about 10 o'clock at night, just as the last place for food was closing. It was a little burger joint called Lost River Drive-In. Luckily, the people in Idaho are awesome, and the extremely nice owner said that she would keep the grill going for us. We gave her an extra generous tip for the gesture. This year, we really hoped not to be cutting it that close. And unless something went really wrong, we figured we should make it to Arco just before 9 o'clock.
Big southern view. Kind of a mess to get up here though. Rocky, loose road. So it's all back in gears. Hopefully it just boiled. It's gonna come back.
One of the many cool features in Arco is called Number Hill. As I understand it, each graduating class from Butte County High School, since the first class did it in 1920, has painted their year up on the cliffs. Unfortunately, when we rolled into Arco, it looked like the Lost River Drive-In had been closed down. But after a quick search, we easily decided that the next best place in town was Pickle's Place, and we were not disappointed. The food was great, and it turned out to be a fantastically Idahoan local joint. We even got our pictures taken on this famous big green chair. Luke was still doing just fine, all things considered. Any chair, but especially ones with a backrest, would cause me serious pain from my day one tailbone injury. Colby was in good shape also, but if you notice, his left boot is looking a bit oily. He figured that a tip over in the desert onto a lava rock must have punctured a hole in his engine case. Luckily he noticed it and patched it up good as new with some quick steel. Those pesky lava rocks. If we're ever in Arco, we try to stay at the DK Motel. Katie, the manager of the DK, is super friendly and always very accommodating, even for crazy Tour of Idaho people like us. She knew we would probably be rolling in a bit late and was waiting up for us to check in. So, from a 6:30 a.m. start in Pocatello to riding some truly awesome single track to the southwest. Then back to Pocatello to replace a busted crankshaft seal, to eating gas station snacks instead of an epic sandwich in American Falls.
I don't know, man.
Followed by hours of nasty desert heat and compass navigation, to finally making it here to Arco. Day 2 was in the books.